he has. And just in general, I think that Tong Fu's picks are really, really strong here. Not to take anything away from Myth Trust, I really like their use of Sven here. I think it's definitely creative. But the question that I have is, did their tri-line really accomplish enough to make sure that this Sven was worth picking? Because Sven is kind of a hero who needs some items to be that useful. I mean, we saw it right there. He couldn't really do much due to the amount of stuns that Tong Fu has. He needs to be able to BKB and right-click somebody, basically, to be that effective. His stun's great, and, you know, Warcry is great, but by themselves, it's not enough to make him a viable pick. He needs to be able to just train on somebody with God Strength on.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. In fact, if there's any two heroes that I feel like have paid for themselves, it's Sand King and Leshrac. They've just been such a force all over the map. Everywhere they go, chaos and death seems to follow. And, I mean, pairing them up with Sven, nothing wrong with that. It's worked out okay, but I think, I think you're onto something. You have to wonder if okay is enough, given that Sven is more or less pretty one-dimensional. But Tong Fu reasserting their dominance a bit in middle lane. Leshrac and Sand King, we're looking for trouble, not going to find it down in the river. They drop down the counter ward. And let's see if Tong Fu wants to take a shot at Roche. They're kind of hanging around this area. Both teams seem to be cognizant of the fact this is kind of becoming the center of gravity of this match. And no, they're just going to go ahead and pull back.
I don't blame them, really, for not rushing here. I mean, it still is kind of risky, and I don't know why they put the ward in that particular spot. It's on kind of the wrong side of the river to see too much coming. And the same can actually be said for Myth Trust ward as well. We kind of see people gathering up around. It looks like they want to try to fight, but if they do, it's going to be to the advantage of TF, though, because the Clinks from Myth Trust is currently top lane.
Yep, looks like he's just going to go ahead and backdoor. Try and force a reaction, and he does. Gonna have our Rubik land safely near top lane. Gotta be careful, even with the haste rune. Clinks does a lot of damage. He's just one of those heroes, and you see him, and he's diminutive, and usually you just kind of stupid Clinks, and then he just kind of melts your face, and you're dead. But Myth Trust now looking to go on the aggressive after forcing that reaction. They're gonna burrow strike in. They're gonna be able to catch a bunch of heroes, and yeah, Tong Fu though. Just look at the damage output. 1 for 1 already. We've got Sven trying to make a run for it now. Lone Druid traded for Sand King, more or less. Ern going to be able to heal up Sven. And Clinks now from Myth Trust is able to move so quickly. Gets into position. CK's pretty low health. Needs to be careful. Rubik's rejoined the fray as well. Sven and Leshrac setting up shop. We'll see if they want to continue to press here or go ahead and pull back. Pulling back, obviously, the right decision because we have the courtesy of seeing through the fog of war. Lesh got to be careful. Yeah, he's going to turn southward, so 22-20, favoring Myth Trust, and now they're just going to smoke up. I think this is a good call. He managed to stave off what seemed to be some aggression, and Lesh has a real chance of being caught out here if he takes the wrong path through the woods. Sven's there as well. Sven is going to get caught, almost certainly. They stopped just short. Going to go ahead and take the long southward loop, and here we go. Rubik's going to spot him. Sven's going to be caught out. 3-second Chaos Bolt picked up, slammed down, dead Sven. 21-22.
Not much you could have done about that, to be totally honest. I mean, you get caught out by Rubik, CK, and Lena, you're pretty much just going to go down there. No questions asked. Doesn't matter really who you are at this point. Oh, Tide actually goes for a blink, not opting to finish his pipe up, as I thought he might have actually done that because he did pick up a cloak relatively early, but going for the blink, definitely a great choice. And Sand King needs to be really careful here, too.
Sand King, it looks like he's going to get caught out, and he is. Stun coming out from Rubik. And again, I got to say, man, Moo is a good Rubik player. He always seems to have the right spell stolen. You notice that? Very rarely does he have a spell that he uses. It's just like, well, that's okay. I mean, it was what he had in the kit at the moment. No, he always has Stormhammer when he needs it. Always.
It's just basically the war of the stuns this game. I mean, I haven't seen this many stunners in quite a long time, especially in Dota 2. People don't typically pick that style. I mean, you don't see heroes like Lena that often. Rubik is obviously just added to the game, so his stun, telekinesis is something that's new as well, and he can actually add another one on top of your team, which other team has obviously via spell steal. So this particular game just has stun, 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 stun everywhere, and that's what makes it so difficult to try to engage, because one mistake and you could potentially be stun locked until death, as we just saw what happened to Sven.
Absolutely. Sven pretty close to his BKB now, only about 500 gold away. Lesh looking to be heading in that direction as well, just has up the Ogre Club, however, so still a bit to go. Ags has been complete on Queen of Pain for a little while, and Clinks He's continued to farm up pretty well. Does have his Orchid. Really the key item for any Clinks player. And allows him to be much more deadly. We're all knotted up in kills, by the way. 22 to 22 now. We'll take another look at the gold graph. South of 500 separating these two teams. About as close as you could ask for as we close in on 30 minutes now. But the Blink Dagger on this Tidehunter really is going to be a factor. The fact that he can actually truly initiate now instead of just waddling in and saving it for whenever he feels like things are going against his team. And they're going to smoke up. Shame is no one is anywhere near them, so it's going to be a bit of a, I guess you can just call it a little exercise, taking a stroll through the park.
I think they're going to catch on pretty quick here, though. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and spot out middle lane the Queen of Pains there, and they're also going to have the Sven, who's going to be farming up top lane. I really don't think they're going to be able to pick anybody off, because the rest of Myth Trust is currently making their way up to the Tier 2 top lane, so they just want to try to push it. And BKB almost finished on Sven. I don't know if this is a good idea, man. I would just wait another little bit before your Sven gets a BKB if they're going to try to force a fight.
There's the glyph. Here we go. Tong Fu moves up. First person going to encounter is the Queen of Pain. She is going to get the blink off, so she makes it away. However, Sand King's going to be caught. There's the Stormhammer. Immediate kill. Now, trying to chase down the remainder of Myth Trust. Sven going to try and TP out. Can he make it? Will he make it? He will. Makes it to safety. Very important there that Sven made it to safety, given how close he is to the BKB. So they do manage to make it work. It takes a Sand King death, but they do get the tower. And yeah, that could have gone much, much worse for Myth Trust. I think they'll take that and walk away with a smile on their face.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty happy about that, because when they walked into that fight, if they had chosen to fight after the Sand King died, it was pretty much just guaranteed loss. They just said, alright, abandon ship, we got the tower, get the heck out of here. If anyone else dies, it's still going to be slightly in their favor because they get more gold out of it. But they only lost one hero, so that's actually very good for Myth Trust.
Aegis is up on the Druid. Looks like Tong Fu wants to fight now. They got a double wave of creeps heading their way. And we see Myth Trust begin to get themselves in position. Very important fight for them, really. Not just for the tower, but it's a very close game. And we're at that stage now, especially when the Aegis is already up on the Druid. We're at that stage in the game where one fight can really swing the entire match. And Sven's just going to get caught out completely. Split Earth, though, is going to land on Rubik. BKB up before the Ravage goes off. Tong Fu wasting the Ravage for the most part. Now with the Epicenter, getting good damage done. Queen of Pain comes in on the south side of things, using the ulti to force them back. And it's going to be 1 for 1 at least. Make it 2 for 1 now, favoring Tong Fu. There's a buyback. Aegis is going to be burned, though. Very important to get that Aegis off of the Druid. Fight. Heads back towards the south side. Sven making a run for it as his ulti wears off. There's the Gush. But he has an Urn Charge, going to keep himself alive. Ghost Scepter up on Rubik, buying him some time. Oh, wow. Queen of Pain is going to get caught out as Sven tries to TP home. She is going to drop. 24 to 26. Tong Fu leading following that fight. They got the tower. And, yeah, looks like... yeah, they are just going to go ahead and pull back. So Tong Fu comes out ahead.
This game has been so close. You know, there's so many best-of-3 series where you're like, man, I wish the third game was close. This is like the epitome of what you want in a third game. Both teams are still slugging it out. It's still impossible to call who's going to win the game. I just want to point out really fast, though, how crappy of luck that Sven had that fight. He BKB'd and instantly got rooted by the Baron with his God's Strength on. That guy had to have at least broken his keyboard in 4 different places, because I know I would have personally. And second off, the Queen of Pain's ult hit nothing but a bear. I mean, just the bear, not even the lone druid. That was definitely not in their favor. The Ravage, although coming out of Tong Fu, wasn't that great either. It was really a wash. Just a lot of abilities flying out. Not really that good of coordination, really, for either team. It's just, I felt so bad for this Sven. I was like, oh no, why root? Why?
It was a beautiful BKB, too. The timing on it could not have been better. It was really, really solid, yeah. I guess you could look at it either way. He call it bad luck on his part or good luck on Spirit Bear. How often, man, do we say it? Spirit Bear MVP. Got his Radiance up, his Phase Boost, his Orb of Venom, etc. But yeah, it's a crazy close game, and this is what you want out of a third game. This is really, really and truly is. Take a look at the gold graph. Just look at the gold graph, man. You could not ask for
They're both at 0. Yeah, they're truly both at 0 at this point. 32 minutes into the game. I mean, just sick game. Really well done so far by both teams.
All right. Myth Trust looking to change that. Want that graph favoring them a smidge. Then they're going to have it. They're just going to take this tower and nothing's going to be said or done about the matter. Tong Fu smoked up once again, looking to catch Myth Trust with their backs turned. see if they do. And CK, who completed his BKB, it's worth mentioning. Oh, he is going to spot Clinks. Immediately, we see Clinks use the skeleton walk. Tong Fu giving chase. Just MITH Trust just has a team that's very hard to lock down in a lot of cases. And they're using that pretty well, I must say. Whenever Tide goes up high and get a good look at the big guy. Very rarely do we see him this close to the camera. Sup, Tide. But, yeah, MITH Trust is really using their team quite well, I must admit. Getting in, getting out, doing damage, shaking towers without much being said. And anytime they feel a little bit out of position, it's almost always the characters like, or the heroes like Clinks and like Queen of Pain who have the ability to get themselves out of trouble if they do get caught out.
That's why they pick the heroes, man. It's just, they're forgiving is what I would call them. I mean, you don't want to get too overconfident on them because there are cases where we saw Queen of Pain at the end of that last team fight, top just got rooted. I mean, that's bad luck. But you can't really just rely on, okay, I'm just going to be able to live just because I can blank. You can't always just use that as your indicator on when to go in and out of team fights. Sometimes you got to have some kind of inkling. It's like, okay, I should probably just leave. But in this particular case, not going to happen.
Yep, going to be caught out, thrown into the fray. There's a 2-second Chaos Bolt and a whole lot of damage. Dead Queen of Pain. She's down for 60. Let's see if that's Tong Fu's catalyst to try and force the fight at the racks. Looks like it may be. They come charging up mid lane. Everyone retreating from MITH Trust now. Just waiting on the creeps. Tong Fu in a good position. Rubik has Burrow Strike. A spell he has used to quite amazing effect throughout the majority of this game. Phantasms popped, banging on the tower. No reaction whatsoever. Leshrac on the periphery. Out comes the Stormhammer. That's going to catch CK. Now the follow-up with a splitter. BKB finally is popped. Oh, there's the root again on Sven. Rushes in with the BKB rooted once again. Clinks is there. BKB as well. Off goes the Ravage. Just as Tide dies, doesn't matter. Tong Fu still standing in force. That's 4 down for 1. And Tide's the one who went down, and he used his Ravage before he died. We see Tide buy back, but Tong Fu may have just broken this game wide open. Little bit of bad luck once again. CK caught out with the single target stun, still managed to get his BKB off, and Sven with his BKB runs in and gets rooted. Now Queen of Pain, though, wanting to clean house, going to be picked up, brought down, stunned again for 2 seconds. Can they damage it fast enough? They can. They're still all down. 25-32, not a hero standing on the side of MITH Trust right now. They're going to go to work on the top lane tower. 7 seconds on the Sand King. 7 seconds on the Sven now. 2 seconds. 1. Finally somebody's back up. Doesn't matter. Tower's down, and they have cracked this game wide open, Draskell. Close as you could have asked for, and 2 sets of racks gone in the blink of an eye.
Man, it really is pretty bad for MITH Trust that Queen of Pain got picked like she did. If Queen of Pain was there for that team fight, they probably would have defended that pretty darn well because they all kind of clumped up on top of the Sven, and I mean, we could just take a moment of silence for him and his luck this game because God, that guy just can't get a win. Nope. It's impossible. Like every time he's like, yeah, BKB got strength, mask it, root.
Yep.
Really. Like just you know, like all those troll faces, that's pretty much what the bear is doing this game for the entirety being played by Awoke. So shout out to his bear for being amazing, and just in general, yeah, the Queen of Pain got picked. That was really what ended the game, in my opinion. I mean, if the ult had been there from her and the Scream, that would have killed at least 3 heroes.
Oh yeah,
from Tong Fu.
At least, bottom line. But yeah, I mean, you really got to feel for him, man. Sven has played a pretty solid game as well, all things considered. Very rare hero to be seen at this level of competitive play, and has done an okay job. Tri-lane could have gone better, but certainly could have gone worse. So you call that a wash. But yeah, I mean, Tong Fu just, I mean. You kind of have to put your hand on the side of your face and just shake your head. An amazingly close game that has completely 100% turned one-sided very quickly. And just looking at the gold graph and the experience graph, that tells a story. And it's not just about, oh, it's 4,000 gold. 4,000 gold in 40 minutes isn't that much. But the loss of 2 racks is just too huge. Just way too huge.
That just gives you such a huge boost of momentum,
Yep.
especially because after a huge team fight like that, you can always fall back and do Roche if you absolutely need to. It's still going to be up in this case, and I really do think that Mistrust knows that. This is going to be like their last hurrah, basically. They had a five-man smoke up here. They want to try to catch somebody or try to do something to get themselves back into the game. Again, I really think that their 5v5 team fight is just as good, if not maybe a little bit better than Tongfu's, but after losing that much gold, I mean, it's going to be really rough then.
Klink's going to engage on Tide. BKB goes off very quickly. Klink's locked down. BKB's doesn't matter. Still going to die. Queen of Pain does get the damage off. Ravage and Epi both off. But it just doesn't matter. Tong Fu can just kind of take it. 4-second Chaos Bolt locks down Leshrac. Queen of Pain doing what she can. Doesn't matter. She's going to be caught. Tong Fu just cleaning house. Make it 4 for 1 and a triple kill on Chaos Knight. Well played and GG. This series went the distance, and it was a crazy close fight up until about 34 minutes. Then, yeah, everything just really, really went nuts, and Tong Fu took a very solid win.
Really impressed by Tongfu's performance. Saw the GG's coming out for Mistrust, so yeah, the game is over. Tongfu's going to take it 1-2, another best of 3, so I'm really happy about that. It really just... It's almost depressing to see a game end like that, because if that one hero just didn't get picked off, you know, if Queen of Pain just was alive for that, we would have had potentially one of the closest games I think we've seen in the entirety of the Asian Monthly Madness scene so far. So I was really looking forward to this best of 3, especially because I think Tongfu is one of those teams who's going to continue to improve and just be a dominant force as we get closer to the International too. But well done by both teams. Unfortunately, Mistrust didn't quite have what it takes to make it out of here.
Absolutely. Good games all around. And tell you what, man, Asian Dota is a lot of fun. There's going to be a burrow strike. Yeah, all the heroes coming out, doing damage. Rubik pops the BKB. Going to make it home. Leshrac making a run for the spawn. Going to get there as well. This is all... actually, are they back? I thought they were all disconnected.
I don't think anyone disconnected, actually. I think they just said GG.
Okay. Anyway. Okay, this is always baffling to me. Like, I don't want to call it BM, but if you call GG, don't come out and get kills. Like, if you call GG, let's let the creeps finish the game. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna keep playing a bit, because Lena's gone, and Druid's down, and Tide's buying back. So, but anyway, gives us time to reminisce. It's been a weird series, man. Game 1, so 100%. Yeah, see, Gosu Molly agrees with me. By the way, I want to take the moment to thank Molly. This is, again, Monthly Madness Asia has really been his brainchild from the start. He's worked very hard to make this a reality. And, yeah, he's done an amazing job. He always does. Great admin, works with the teams directly. Doing a fantastic job in the background, really making our lives easy, Draskell.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job, and I'm so happy that we don't have to deal with it this month.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we both know how bad it went when we tried to organize things. It was just like a complete mess, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Mally's probably got a bit more experience than either of us do in that department, so that's going to be good to have him pretty much at our sides for the rest of this tournament. Yeah, the throne's finally going to die, courtesy of Hao playing Chaos Knight. So Tongfu takes it, man, 2-1. Very, very impressive stuff.
Indeed. Cue up our Rocky song for him. They're certainly well earned. But yeah, it was a weird series. Games 1 and 2, just pretty much total stomps. Game 3, a very close game for the majority of the game until it hit about the 34, 35 minute mark. And then Tongfu just kind of, it's one of those games where it feels like Tongfu on the headsets was just like, oh, okay, I'm getting hungry. Let's go win. What do you guys say? You want to go win? And they just went and won.
Well, the Queen of Pain had a lot to do with that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Queen of Pain getting picked off, big deal. But yeah, I mean, it was remarkable to see one hero death, and one push completely change an outcome so much, or completely determine an outcome, I should say. Let's see. MVPs? Who you give it to?
That game was actually pretty tough for me. I still want to say that Rubik did an amazing job that game, especially. I mean, he even won an item build that I thought made total sense for that game. He got the mech up too, and just went straight for BKB afterwards because he knew that pretty much most of the damage coming out was going to be from magic. So I think that, yeah, Tongfu, probably for me, it's going to be Rubik. I don't know if the tri-lane really did enough to warrant me giving MVP to any of them. I mean, it was a hard place to play, don't get me wrong, because you're basically stun versus stun, and whoever gets out of position first is going to be pretty much dead. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with Rubik here, I think.
I'm going to give it to Sven just because he deserves it. Just tough luck hero. And, yeah, he had a rough time, man. I feel like he deserves something. Walks out 2-8-10. Got himself in a good position a number of times, and everything just seemed to go wrong for him. This edition of Monthly Madness is in the books, but Monthly Madness Asia, day number 2 of weekend number 2, kicks off tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1400 hours Central European Time. We hope everyone, be you new or familiar faces around here, we hope you hit follow. We want to have you back for this broadcast and all future broadcasts here on the itsgosu Dota 2 channel. This has been an itsgosu Esports production in conjunction with NOS Energy Drink, Own 3D TV, Max Integration, Team Razor, and of course Valve Corporation, allowing us to work with you and hopefully bring this broadcast to you without any hitches and with crystal clear audio through Dota TV. Those who are listening via ticket, thank you very much for your support. I'm sure Valve echoes those sentiments as well. Parting thoughts, Draskell?
Not really a whole lot else to be said, I think. I mean, it was a great best of 3. And we had the first best of 3 of the day. It was a 2-0, though. So it was a little... I mean, 2-0s are great and everything because one team definitely showing that they're very dominant, and that's awesome. But you typically want to see it go all the way, you know? At least I do, personally, being a Dota fan. But I can't really complain. We had, what, 5 out of 6 potential matches played for today, so not too bad.
Tomorrow, we got Aeon taking on Team Zenith, and we get to cast our good old buddy Loda. Loda, who has casted with Draskell and I before at his new home at Team Zenith. That's going to kick off again tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1400 Central European Time. That's going to be followed by Mineski Power Color taking on Team DK. So we hope to see you then. Till then, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at AC. That's at AYESEE. And Draskell, where can they find you, buddy?
They can find me on Twitter as well, at Draskell, and the other streaming channel, /NeoDota. I'm sure you guys all know what that is if anybody here actually understands English, because I know we have a lot of our Asian friends in the chat too, so that's awesome they were tuning in. But I don't even know if anybody has any idea what we're talking about.
It's cool, man. It's cool. I'm sure they understand Twitter. Thanks, guys, for being here with us again. We'll see you tomorrow. Not far from now. It's actually, yeah, about 18 hours from now. So call this an 18-hour break for Draskell and I. More Dota 2 on the way. Stick with us or at least come back 18 hours from now. See you tomorrow morning.